Hey guys. So in this video, I want to go over the Roland MKS-50 that we worked on not too long ago. This particular unit, if you've never seen it before, is the Roland Alpha Juno in a rack mount form. And when we got it open, it was actually, it wasn't known to me at the time what it was, but I immediately recognized the layout of it, noticing like, oh, this is just like the Alpha Juno. And then of course, chat was nice enough to say, "It is the Alpha Juno." I'm like, oh, if I would have read the second sentence on the description, I would have noted that. So, classic. The issue with it was a pretty simple one that probably comes up from time to time. The buttons just didn't work. You could press the buttons, you could feel the click inside, but no dice. Nothing would happen. Now, some of the buttons would, and sometimes if you really put your back into it, you could kind of get it to change, but it was still hit and miss, and on several of them, it was just always a miss. So we opened the unit up and looked inside. And like I said, it looked just like an Alpha Juno. That's when I realized it. We got to the front panel of the unit, and sure enough, we'd press the buttons and check it with a multimeter to check continuity, and yeah, there was no connection with that button. One of the buttons that kind of worked, we could get it to beep, so we got a sense that we knew where the wires were going, but we didn't know why they weren't working. The switches I found online from Centaur, and I was about to order them, but then I thought, well, let me just see. They're not sealed. Let me try to put a little bit of deoxit D5 in there. So I added a little bit to drip down into the shaft. I gave it a couple seconds to kind of swarm in, and then I just worked the actuator on and on for a good 30 seconds. Checked it with the multimeter, worked fine. Worked fine after that. Tried it with another switch just to see if it wasn't a fluke, and these are just simple push button momentaries. Exact same results. So we went ahead and did it to all the buttons on the front, including the ones that seemed to be working fine. Just went ahead and got them all nicely cleaned up, and they worked great. The buttons and everything on there are like a dream now. The client did want to look into recapping the inside, but my general feeling is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And looking inside, really the capacitors looked fantastic. Everything looked fine. I did a couple of tests here and there, and each time I got exactly what I expected to get. So there wasn't really any need to do it. And there's a lot of caps that are part, especially electrolytic caps, are part of the voices, each one of the voices on there, and there's 6. So if I change that, I was feeling like I was probably going to have to recalibrate a bunch of stuff. It may change the actual sound, possibly. I don't know. I just didn't want to get into it. I didn't want to mess with it because it's not broken. And so we went ahead and boxed it all back up and put it through some tests. We did it with a couple of other things that we got from the same client, and I just let them run all day, and they didn't crash, didn't give any errors. They were nice and warm, but they still worked fine. So went ahead and sent that off, and client was happy. So down below, definitely leave in the comments any experience you've had where you've been able to just simply massage a part back to life without having to replace it. Switches and jacks and pots, those are the ones that go out the most. So I'm curious if anyone has any other neat little magic tricks that they've picked up over the years to rejuvenate a component. Until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next video.